In this lecture, we're going to be talking about the neuroplastic wiring through subliminal music therapy. And the concept of this lecture is very easy to understand. Because right now, by pausing this lecture and putting any song that you like, you will feel a certain change in your mood, in your mental state, or in your emotions. You might feel a bit more happy, you might feel a bit more relaxed, or you might feel a little bit sad. But that's exactly where you see that music can have a very huge impact on the brain. There are a lot of people nowadays that cannot function on a daily basis without listening to music. People who are addicted to music. There are people who would feel way more anxious in social situations if they don't have their earphones plugged in and listening to music. And that says something. It says that even though music can help a lot, it can also have a lot of detrimental effects. Music has deep roots with neuroplasticity. Through music and the science of neurology emerged musical therapy. Now, what music therapy is a clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individual goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program, according to Wikipedia. And in this lecture, we're not going to go through the classic music therapy system. We're going to look at musical therapy from a neuroplasticity standpoint that is a little bit different. The goal is not just to give you what to do. Each and every situation needs a different approach. And since we as instructors cannot know exactly what each and every person wants to use the music therapy for, the goal is to make you understand the entire system and implement the best solution possible. So the first question is, how is music processed in the brain? Well, there are 8 functions in the brain that music can usually influence. We have sensory processing, memory, attention, emotional regulation, language production, language comprehension, motor movement, and motor movement planning. We have parts associated with our senses, with our motor skills, language and culture, attention, memory, and even emotions. And if at any given point you know that there is anything going on in your brain that is hitting a lot of these spots, such as memory and emotions and senses, you immediately know that this is something that can affect your brain's plasticity a lot. And obviously, through all this information, we can see that music can be an incredible neuroplastic learning and rehabilitation system. By forming new neural connections and pruning existing neural connections, it makes it possible to learn new behaviors and retain them, as well as relearn lost behaviors. And the arrangements of the areas of the brain that respond to different stimuli can change in response to altered circumstances, and all of these can be the result of music therapy. Dopamine is one of the main hormones that is produced when music is played. Listening to music will release these dopamine. Music stimulates the same neural network that is involved in reinforcement with learning and reward. And the easiest thing to do for a habit to become automatic or for a behavior to become wired is through reward. Your body loves it, your entire system loves it, and then it becomes wired. So you need to first ask yourself, what type of music are you listening to? Is it a certain genre or song that gets you in your feels, or is it any music in general? It's important to understand what it is exactly because we're talking about emotions, and once you understand the music, you understand your emotions. And then you need to analyze everything. Which describes you more? You need to look at different scenarios and see which one describes you the most. Some people said, I find no pleasure in activities until I listen to music. The second music goes away, so does my emotions. Some people would say, whenever I hear a certain song, I feel this overwhelming, amplified sense of emotions in me, and I just love it. And the reason why they love it is because of course, the dopamine rush. Now, the truth is, music becomes a habit, just like chewing gum or smoking a cigarette. It just becomes a habit that gives you pleasure. It's something you do, it's a behavior that you do. You put on music, and then there's a routine, some song that you listen to, and then there is the reward. And it's just a habit system that you need to solve. But what we want to look at is not if you have a problem always listening to music. The problem we want to look at is how can we use music to your advantage, because it's such a powerful tool. And the answer is really simple. Listen to what you want to be. If you want to be sad, listen to sad songs. If you want to be happy, listen to happy songs. If you want to feel confident, listen to music that is upbeat maybe, that has some lyrics that would make you feel confident, some lyrics that you have a certain connection with, or a certain song that can make you feel more confident because it's linked to a certain memory. And use these to your advantage. Music, as we said, serves as the reward and the motivation. So by pairing both music and a non-music task, dopamine is released during both. As a result, the synaptic connections may be strengthened by LTP, which is mediated by dopamine. This ultimately leads to the learning of a new task or behavior from the music or reward. So you can use it to actually make the process of neuroplasticity way faster. So not just that it's easy, but it is certain that when you listen to certain type of music, you'll experience certain emotions. And then when you link these emotions that are coming from a song to a certain situation, you'll be contributing towards the neuroplasticity system that is taking place. Now, some things that you need to keep in mind when you talk about music and neuroplasticity. First and foremost, the sensory and motor integration. Behaviors are reinforced the most by music through sensory and motor integration. And I'll give the following example. If you have a certain song that you listen to at the gym every single time you are lifting, let's say, a lot of heavy weights or doing an intense exercise, usually after finishing this exercise, you have a certain sense of reward inside of you. And the dopamine rush coming from the song itself and from the reward will have a big impact on you. You'll have a big dopamine rush inside of you. And then the song becomes linked to these high levels of pleasure by itself. So even if you're not working out and you listen to it, you would feel extra happy. You would feel an extra rush of dopamine inside of you. So make sure when you want to use music to accomplish neuroplasticity, to change a certain behavior or create a new one, make sure that your sensory and motor systems are in sync. And second thing is lifespan integration, which means the more you listen to a song, you have one of two possibilities. You're either going to get bored of it and stop listening to it, or you're going to keep listening to it more and more and more and build stronger connections with it through neuroplasticity. That explains why we have a lot of songs that we listen to for a while and then stop listening to. And there are some songs that even after years of listening to, when we listen to them, we feel happy. Now, these songs are just an example. There might be a lot of songs that you would listen to after a while, and that can make you sad. And this is all related to the subliminal understanding and effect of the song. Some songs are just linked to negative emotions or bad experiences or bad memories, and therefore they will bring you bad emotions. And other music and other songs are linked to positive memories, which can give you a lot of happiness and joy and dopamine. So whenever you want to use musical therapy, make sure to reflect at these three conditions. And most importantly, the first and the third, being aware of the sensory and motor system integrations and being also aware of the subliminal understanding and effect of a certain song on you. One last example I will give in this lecture for you to also understand the subliminal effects of a certain song. When exams come closer and a lot of people want to start studying for their exams, they start becoming sad or depressed or anxious. And especially nowadays, most people have this tendency to fight depression and anxiety with some happy songs. But the problem is a lot of the songs would actually give them a rush that is too high. It would throw them overboard. This amount of stress that can be used as effective self-pressure to study more and finish what the person has when listening to these happy songs that talks about happy life, and a lot of different links can come through the lyrics. But then the person becomes a bit more comfortable. And even if they fail an exam, they're not going to be as sad. And this can just give them one more reason to care less. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to happy songs when you're feeling sad or upset. What I'm saying is you need to understand the subliminal effect of each and every song or experience you're linking a song to. Once you understand your sensory and motor systems well, and once you understand the subliminal understanding and effects, then work on the lifespan integration to make sure that the process of neuroplasticity is effective and very well fixed.